Everyone, I'm the Tax Pro, and today I'm going to show you how to record a payment within QuickBooks Online using the new layout. So this is the new dashboard in the 2025 update for QuickBooks Online, and this is going to be our demo company, ABC Creative. So let's say that we have a client who has now paid us for an invoice, and we need to make sure that we record the payment against that particular invoice. Right here is our dashboard. If we go here to the My Apps section, we can navigate over to our invoice section by going to the Sales and Get Paid area. So we can view invoices here. We can go to the invoice area, and then we can scroll down to the particular invoice we want to record a payment to, and we can click on Receive Payment. This is going to take us to an area where we can record the payment. So notice here that we can record the payment or we can charge a new payment. This allows us to charge the card that our client has on file or charge their ACH account. So like pull an ACH from their bank account. We're going to just record the payment. We're going to select the payment date, and then you can include a reference number if you would like. So maybe they paid us with check 7004. You can fill out the payment method. You don't have to fill out the reference number or the payment method. That's not required. So we could put in here, check, and then it's going to ask us where we want to deposit this to. If you're going to hold on to this payment and you're not going to deposit it right away, I suggest you put it in undeposited funds. You could say that you're going to deposit it straight into primary checking, but I would only recommend doing that if you're going to go ahead and deposit it as a single check and you're going to deposit it right when you record it. Otherwise, you might realize when you go to reconcile that check was never actually deposited. So I'm going to put it in undeposited funds, and then you can put the amount that was received. You could, if you wanted to, select multiple invoices here. So we could select, let's say we received payment for all of their invoices. We could put $8,927, or if let's say they only paid $7,000. What it'll automatically do is it'll automatically select the oldest invoices and then apply the payment first to the oldest invoice, and then it will split up the payments and do partial payments on some invoices. So right here, like if we received $7,000 and we didn't have any remittance information, it will automatically apply it to the oldest transaction or invoice that's open, and then it will go ahead and do a partial payment here. Or if you wanted to, you could say, no, we don't want to apply it to that invoice. We want to apply it to this invoice. You'll notice, though, that there's some leftover amounts here, so it's actually going to credit $358 to the account. You may have this where maybe the client gives you $7,000, but then maybe there's a dispute over this particular invoice, and they've just kind of sent you a check for $7,000 and you're not really sure where to apply it. So we can record it that way. The other way that you can record payments is you can click on the plus new button, and then you could click on receive payment here. So the plus new button is nice because you can literally navigate there from wherever you are in QuickBooks Online. You don't have to navigate into the sales and the invoice area. From here, we would select a customer, or you could find it by invoice number. So Alfred has some open invoices. Let's say that we have maybe a client, let me see if I have one in here that doesn't have an open invoice. Obviously, we don't have invoices for Shopify, but let's say that we have a client that sends us maybe a deposit, but we don't have an invoice in here yet. You can record a payment if there's no invoice to apply it against. What will end up happening is, let's say we've received $1,000 and maybe it's a deposit for this client, but we just don't have the invoice in here yet. Let's say reference number is, 1,000. They've paid us via check, and we're going to throw it into undeposited funds. What will end up happening if we don't have an invoice to apply this payment to is it's going to credit this client's account for $1,000. So I'm going to record and close, and then it's going to pop up this notice, and it's going to say there's no invoices here. And so it's going to say they're going to save the payment. QuickBooks will save the payment as a credit to the customer's account since there's not an invoice selected. And then it's going to let you know, like, if you wanted to record a payment, but there's not going to be an invoice, maybe you've, accepted a check and you've provided service at the same time, the appropriate way to do that would be a sales receipt, not a payment. So we're receiving the payment with the understanding that this client now has a credit on their account for $1,000 and it's going to be applied to an invoice at a later date. If you just received a payment and it's for service that was just provided, you would want to do a sales receipt instead. So we can go ahead and save that as a credit, and then what ends up happening, if we go into our customer hub and we look up customers and we go to Shopify, you'll notice that there's a negative $1,000 balance on this client's account. That's essentially saying that there's a deposit there. We owe them $1,000 worth of work. Okay, so instead of them owing us money, we actually owe them, if we don't do any work, we would owe them back $1,000 for that deposit, right? So that's how to record a payment within QuickBooks Online with this new 2025 update. If you have any questions, please let me know. If this was helpful, please consider liking and subscribing. I would greatly appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time.